Overall rating, thinking back to our school days. Most of us can recall at least one teacher pointing out calmly or perhaps loudly and irritably, depending on their mood and where we fell on the waywardness spectrum that you must focus if you want to succeed. Well, modify that mantra mildly and it's apt for Ford. It has got to focus and, by crikey, does it need its family hatchback to succeed. You see, Ford has sold more than 16 million Focuses worldwide since 1998, which comes, in part, thanks to a consistent reputation for sublime ride and handling. For the sake of the company's bottom line, the tally needs adding to. So for this fourth generation it has pulled out all the stops. Not just to continue that hereditary dynamic sparkle, but also to improve areas where previous Focuses have dropped the ball: interior quality, interior space and onboard technology. These are all areas in which chief rivals, including the Volkswagen Golf at the pricier end of the market and the Skoda Octavia at the cheaper end, do rather well. So, can Ford's family stalwart raise the game? Well, to find out, keep reading the next few pages and we'll walk you through every aspect of the Focus, with key comparisons to its closest competition. And, did you know that when you're done, you can find the best deals on all new cars, not just the Focus, through our no-hassle new car buying page? Driving, what it's like to drive, and how quiet it is. Ford Focus hatchback performance. Let's begin with the quick rundown of the engine options. Those who prefer petrol power can opt for 1.0-liter or 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged EcoBoost motors. That's not an end to it, though, because the 1.0 is offered in 3 power outputs with 84 bhp, 99 bhp or 123 bhp, while the 1.5 comes with 148 bhp or 180 bhp. We haven't tried the smallest unit yet, but the 99 bhp offering is rather a slow performer. You have to work the engine hard to get any real power, whether off the line or in gear. And while it will sit happily at motorway speeds, it does make a racket when getting there. The 123 bhp 1.0-liter offers an extra 22 pounds-ft of torque when you put your foot down, which doesn't sound like a lot, but is the difference between making that gap at the roundabout or not and justifies the extra premium alone. If you regularly carry lots of people or simply want more oomph, the 1.5 petrols have rather more guts. Thus far, we've only tried the 180 bhp version and, while it's certainly more potent than the 1.0-liter, it can't match the fizz of the less powerful Volkswagen Golf 1.5 TSI 150 or its Octavia equivalent. Diesels will still be popular with fleet buyers, and the Focus is available with 4-cylinder units that include a 1.5-liter with 94 bhp or 118 bhp and a 2.0-liter with 148 bhp. The 118 bhp engine hits the sweet spot, offering a good spread of shove once you get past its momentary low and lag. There are also a couple of beefier-looking models the Active and Active X which draw on fashionable SUV styling tropes. We're yet to try these models, which offer the same engine choices as the rest of the range, bar the lowest 2 petrol engines, but their extra weight hinders on paper. Every Focus has a quick-shifting 6-speed manual gearbox, while an optional 8-speed auto box is available throughout most of the range. This can take a moment to react to kickdown requests but shifts promptly between gears. Ford Focus hatchback ride. The suspension options for the Focus can get a little complicated, but basically, lower-powered versions have a simple torsion beam at the rear, while pokier models get a more sophisticated independent arrangement designed to enhance ride as well as handling. There are also sportier ST-Line and ST-Line X trims that offer a lower, stiffer setup. The only difference between these is that you get a slightly more compliant ride if you go for ST-Line, due to its 17-in wheels, compared with the 18-in set fitted to ST-Line X cars. Neither are bone shakers, but are noticeably firmer over potholes and corrugated surfaces than other models. On the Style and ZX trims, There's no option to add Ford's adaptive damping system, so you can't soften or stiffen the suspension. That's no real problem, though, as both trim levels provide a generally relaxed ride that covers up road imperfections well, and only thuds over particularly harsh bumps and potholes. Indeed, out of all the Focus rivals, only the Volkswagen Golf proves comfier, Ford Focus hatchback handling. Regardless of which suspension setup you end up with, choose any Focus and you're guaranteed a car that handles deftly. The only question is how deftly. Certainly, higher-powered cars with the more complex multi-link rear suspension design feel that bit more composed if you hit a bump mid-corner, and the stiffer ST-line setup has the least body lean in corners, giving it the most agile feel. In fact, along roads strewn with all kinds of challenging cambers, contours and crests, every Focus even those with the more basic suspension design simply flows with ballet balance. Add in steering that is light in town, yet precise and meaty enough for you to glide it accurately down meandering roads, and there's little doubt that keen drivers should choose the Focus above all else in this class. Ford Focus hatchback refinement. Think of refinement and you naturally think noise and vibration, right? In this respect, Ford has worked hard to make the Focus as peaceful as possible. The three-cylinder petrol engines, especially the 1.5, are pretty smooth and produce only a background thrum under hard acceleration. Meanwhile, the 1.5-liter diesel is grumblier than the petrol at idle, but it's no worse than its rivals and becomes quiet at higher speeds. There's a bit of wind flutter over the door mirrors at motorway speeds, but the suspension works reasonably quietly and tire noise is as well suppressed as it is in a Golf. Overall, it's a much more hushed companion than the Octavia, but what's really impressive is its refinement in less obvious areas. The manual gear change, for example, is the sweetest in the class, and even a mechanical Philistine would be turned by its effortless precision. It's complemented by a light clutch, so you can impress your passengers with how smoothly you drive around town. Interior layout. The interior layout, fit and finish, Ford Focus hatchback driving position. The Focus's front seats are excellent, both being height adjustable and with driver's side lumbar adjustment standard on all trims. If your Focus has the comfort seats, optional on cheaper models, there's 18-way manual adjustment that includes extendable seat squabs. They're definitely a worthwhile addition. Electric seats are available on all ST-Line X, Titanium X and Vignale models. There's also loads of steering wheel rake and reach adjustment to help you pick a driving position that'll suit, no matter your proportions. Matching the well-designed driver's seat are a set of pedals that line up perfectly with the seat and steering wheel, and if you opt for ZX trim or above, there's even the added luxury of a front center armrest. We love the uncluttered dashboard layout and the orderly instruments. In fact, these are so easy to read that the optional head-up display comes as a welcome addition, rather than being indispensable. Ford Focus hatchback visibility. The view out of the Focus is generally good. The front pillars are no more obstructive to your forward view than in any other car in the class, and while the rear window line tapers up towards a couple of thickish rear pillars, that too is par for the course among the competition. Parking sensors are only standard if you pay for the upper middle ST-Line X trim or above, but you can add them on cheaper models at the front and rear for only a few £100. A rear camera is part of the convenience pack. LED headlights are optional on the upper trims and standard on Vignale, and can be upgraded to adaptive LED headlights if you're prepared to pay a fairly hefty premium. As well as being able to run on full beam even with other cars in front by shaping the headlight beam to avoid dazzling other traffic they also use a camera to view the road ahead and point the light in that direction. When they see a corner, Ford Focus hatchback infotainment, the 8.0-in, sat-nav-equipped touchscreen infotainment system standard on Titanium our preferred trim and ST-Line X models is fine in isolation, but shows some weaknesses when judged against the systems offered by the Volkswagen Golf and Skoda Octavia. It isn't as intuitive nor as quick to respond, The graphics aren't as sharp and some of the icons are quite small to find when you're doing 70 miles per hour on the motorway. It would also be nice to have a few physical shortcut buttons to hop between the main functions. Such controls are easier and far less distracting to find on the move. Big selling ZX and ST-line trims make do with a 6.5-inch touchscreen that doesn't have built-in sat-nav, but it doesn't cost the earth to upgrade to the larger system. Every model except entry-level style has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which allow you to tether your phone and control selected functions, including navigation apps, through the touchscreen. Wireless charging is also an inexpensive option. As for the entry-level style trim, the 4.2-inch screen you get is pretty basic, but there's DAB radio, Bluetooth, 2 USB ports and an emergency assist function that can contact the emergency services in the event of an accident so they can check on your condition. We'd still suggest upgrading to ZX as a minimum, though. The standard stereo has 6 speakers, while the upgraded B&O Play sound system has 675 W and 10 speakers. It is pretty punchy and well worth considering if you love music. It's included with the Vignail model. The space consumed by its subwoofer does reduce the size of the boot, though something you can read about in the boot space section. Ford Focus hatchback build quality. Interior excellence was notable only by its absence in the previous Focus, and for some this was a reason not to buy one. The current model improves on that situation, but it still doesn't lead the way in quality. Starting with the good bits, it's reasonably sturdily made and all the upper surfaces are pleasingly soft to the touch, plus every model from ZX upwards gets a nice leather-wrapped gear knob and steering wheel. There are even nice touches that mark the car out, such as carpeted door pins in the front that prevent your keys jangling about annoyingly. Upper trim levels come with faux chrome, wood or carbon fiber highlights to spice up the interior, some reasonably successfully, others simply look as cheap as a pack of pound shop pens, while top-spec Vignail trim has a leather-wrapped dashboard that matches its seats, yet a Golf it certainly isn't or an Octavia, or a Kia Ceed, for that matter. All of the above look and feel markedly plusher. In the Focus, none of the surfaces look particularly special and there's liberal use of harsh and shiny plastics in prominent places such as around the heater controls, space and practicality. How it copes with people and clutter. Ford Focus hatchback front space. There's enough space in the front of the Focus to prevent all but the lankiest from struggling. There's as much leg space as you'll find in the class-leading Skoda Octavia. It can't match the Czech car for headroom, but there's still more than enough for most people and sufficient width for you and your passenger to enjoy plenty of personal space. There are lots of storage spaces dotted around, including a couple of cup holders and trays for your phone in the center console. The glove box and front door bins aren't especially generous, though. Ford Focus hatchback rear space. Once, a shortage of rear space was the Focus's Achilles heel. That's no longer the case. The current model is on a par with the voluminous Octavia and, if you're lanky, you'll still be able to sit happily behind somebody similarly tall in the front. Headroom isn't quite as generous as in the Octavia, but you'd only struggle if you're well past the 6 feet mark. A tall middle passenger will struggle a little more for comfort due to the slightly raised middle seat. But otherwise, the width of the rear bench, the relatively small central floor tunnel and plentiful foot space under the front seats make the Focus one of the best in a class for 3 in the back. Where fitted, the panoramic sunroof does eat into headroom, so make sure you try before you buy if you regularly transport tall passengers. Ford Focus hatchback seating flexibility. The cheaper versions are fairly basic in this respect. You only get passenger seat lumbar and height adjustment on ST-Line X models and above. As such, we recommend paying the relatively small charge for the optional comfort seats, which grant your passengers 18-way manual seat adjustment which includes a tilting and extendable seat squab for better under-thigh support. The rear seats split fold in a 60/40 arrangement as standard, but there are no handy release levers by the tailgate like you'll find in some rivals. Instead, you have to open the rear doors and press the release levers on top of the seatbacks. Ford Focus hatchback boot space. While it won't amaze like Wookey Hole or the Octavia, for that matter, with its cavernous, the Focus's boot is as usable and voluminous as the Volkswagen Golf's. There's a little lip at its edge to heave items over, but its square shape and decent proportions will still hold a large pram or up to 5 carry-on suitcases. We suggest adding the optional height-adjustable boot floor for its extra storage flexibility and because it smooths out the step that's formed when you fold down the rear seat backs. Be aware of one little idiosyncrasy, though. If you order the B&O Play sound system, or go for the Vignale model, which comes with it as standard, you'll find its subwoofer takes up a chunk of space under the boot floor. This makes the boot slightly shallower and prevents you from adding the variable height boot floor. Cost and verdict: everyday costs, plus how reliable and safe it is. Ford Focus hatchback running costs. There are 7 trim levels to choose from and entry-level style is about the same price as an entry-level Skoda Octavia, undercutting any 5-door Volkswagen Golf. However, most people will opt for mid-spec ZX and ST-line models, which are relatively pricey compared with the Octavia and cost not far off the price of the better-equipped Golf SE, so the Focus isn't as cheap as you might think. The story is a little different if you compare 3-year, 10,000 mile, per year PCP finance deals. The disparity in monthly cost against the Octavia is just a few pounds per month. A Kia said could work out significantly cheaper, though. Predicted resale values for the Focus are respectable after 3 years or 36,000 miles, roughly matching those of the Golf and Octavia. Servicing costs, however, work out a little higher for the same period. Whichever capacity or power output you choose, the EcoBoost 3-cylinder petrol engines have efficiency-enhancing cylinder deactivation. This shuts down one cylinder when you're cruising gently and means, for example, the popular 123 bhp 1.0 manages average economy of 49.6 mpg, WLTP combined, and 107 grams per kilometer of CO2 in official tests. That matches what Skoda and Volkswagen claim for the Octavia and Golf 1.0 TSI. Ford Focus hatchback equipment. While style trim is relatively cheap and comes with basics that include 16-in alloy wheels, aircon and electrically operated front and rear windows, we'd still recommend jumping up a rung if you can. Doing so will take you to the heart of the range, the biggest selling ZX and sportier ST-line trims. As well as the infotainment upgrades mentioned earlier, both feature cruise control and a heated windscreen, while the latter adds keyless start, aluminum pedals, sports seats, 17-in alloy wheels, lowered sports suspension and more aggressive styling. However, our favorite is titanium trim. It's still reasonably priced and is very well equipped, with power folding door mirrors, keyless entry, front and rear parking sensors, auto wipers, heated front seats, dual-zone climate control and the larger 8.0-in touchscreen with sat-nav. ST-Line X also offers the majority of these features, along with sports suspension, 18-in alloy wheels and the same sporty styling as the ST-Line. Models further up the range, culminating with the range-topping Vignale, offer yet more standard kit. While eye-catching on paper, though, they don't necessarily provide the best value for money. The SUV-styled Active and Active X versions have black plastic wheel arch surrounds and a ride height that's 30 mm higher, like the recently introduced Fiesta Active. Ford Focus hatchback reliability. According to our most recent survey, Ford's reliability record is only average. The data compiled from information supplied by placed at the manufacturer 18th out of the 31 surveyed. This current version of the Focus was due to be included. If you should find yourself in need of warranty backup, Ford's policy lasts for 3 years or 60,000 miles. That's nothing compared with Kia's 7-year manufacturer's warranty, although you can extend Ford's cover for an extra cost. Ford Focus hatchback safety and security. The Focus gets only 4 stars here from us, although it got 5 stars when tested by Euro NCAP. Its results were not class-leading, with adult occupancy protection scores, for example, that weren't quite as high as some of its rivals. That said, the Focus certainly comes with lots of active safety aids. These include automatic emergency braking, which can recognize cars, pedestrians and cyclists, and lane keeping assistance for all trims, while the reasonably priced driver assistance pack adds traffic sign recognition, automatic main beam and adaptive cruise control. The latter includes steering assistance that works at motorway speeds, as well as a stop and go function that can bring the car to a halt in traffic and restart when the car in front moves off. Blind spot warning is part of a pack that includes a feature to alert you if you're about to reverse out of your driveway into the path of another vehicle. All models come with a THACM Research Category 1 alarm and immobilizer that increase its resistance to being broken into or stolen.